Welcome to episode 19 of the Fitasylum podcast. Today we're joined by Powerlifter Callum. Cal, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And please tell the listeners where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Instagram at callum.mcgovern_pl, and that's my powerlifting account. So if you want to see me lifting, then you can find me on there.
Cal, tell us a little bit about your powerlifting background, about you as a person, how you got into powerlifting.
I've been powerlifting for it's either 5 or 6 years now, and I got into it sort of accidentally. My secondary school built a gym halfway through, and I wanted to get fit. So me and my mates used to go after school, and we would just mess around.
As all kids do.
Yeah, and we were like 14, 15. We would just mess around, and I had the genius idea to load, I think it was like 250 kilos on a hack squat, which I had no right doing, with about 6 mates on either side, making sure I didn't snap my legs. And I decided to take a picture of it. My dad saw it and went, if you want to lift, you're going to do it safely. He took me to just our local gym near me. And it was a powerlifting gym. I'd been there a couple of months, and the owner, who later became my coach, went, do you want to give this a go? And here I am, never looked back.
Wow, awesome. And tell us what level you've competed at.
I've competed from divisional comps up to international. So in 2019, I represented Team GB in the Classic Powerlifting Championships in Sweden.
Awesome, mate. That's amazing. And looking back now, obviously going back to school, what was your educational journey like? Because we're an education provider, so tell us about it.
I've always been quite academic, quite enjoyed school, always been a bit mathsy. I did quite well in my GCSEs, and then decided I like maths and physics, so keep doing that. Did that at college, and then decided to take a degree in mathematical physics at UCLan.
So mathematical physics,
yeah.
That sounds disgusting if,
It's funny, everyone pulls the same face when I say that's what degree I do. Everyone goes, ooh.
And tell us a little bit more about mathematical physics, because I did further maths at A-level and I really enjoyed it. It was very difficult, but that's just a whole different ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's sort of just the continuation of maths and physics at A-level. It's basically a physics degree with just a little bit more maths. So it sounds very, very mathsy, but the physics degree that UCLan offer is very similar. So it's a lot of calculus and algebra and stuff, and it's funny because in the actual the maths exams I sit, you don't ever actually work out a number or anything like that. Whereas in the physics exams, it might be working out forces and things.
So is it more to do with formulas and theories?
Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of equations and sort of understanding the maths behind things, and it goes into quite a lot of detail.
Are you the powerlifting Sheldon Cooper then?
I don't know if I'm that smart.
I just love Big Bang, that's all.
It's a good show.
So then tell us a little bit about what you want to do for the future going forward with, I know we talked about it a little bit off podcast, you tried weightlifting for a little bit and then you've gone back to powerlifting, which is really funny because I did the opposite. I did a lot of powerlifting and then I went into a little bit of weightlifting, and I think a lot of people go down different fitness journeys. What made you go down a slightly different fitness route, and how did you find weightlifting?
Well, like I said, I started powerlifting. I'd done that for a while, and my dad found this thing online. It was From Home to the Games, which lots of Olympic sports were looking for athletes who do different sports as like a talent transfer. So I signed up for that, and you had to do like a long jump, a sprint, and then whatever you do. So I sent videos of me powerlifting. Went to a couple of selection days where they do a couple of tests, like long jumps, high jumps. They get your measurements and that. And British Weightlifting invited me onto their talent transfer program. So I did, I think it was 3 months with them. So I went down to Nottingham. They taught us how to do snatch, how to do clean and jerk, gave us a program, and then I was invited back to basically to show them what we can
process.
do. Yeah,
progress.
On the day, the coach I was with was quite impressed. In the end, they decided to not go with me, and I was happy to have the experience. I sort of did it to sort of see what weightlifting was like. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have
ever tried it.
I probably wouldn't have ever tried it, and I never had any intention of going, right, I'm going to stop powerlifting and I'm going to transition. But I tried it, and then even after that process, tried it for probably about 6 months. And I enjoyed it, and it's definitely something that I will incorporate into my powerlifting training, because I think there's a lot of...
Good transfer.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits that come alongside it, but I think I just decided that powerlifting's for me.
Positional skills, such as like an overhead squat,
yeah,
and, transfer with the triple extension and things like that. So
yeah, not about generating power quickly. Whereas with powerlifting, it's more being calm up until you have to explode. Whereas obviously weightlifting, it's grab the bar and off you go.
It's really funny, obviously, doing both to a half decent level. I think with powerlifting, you want to be as tight, kind of as much aggression as possible a lot of the time. Because usually in training you've built up your technique to be pretty much bulletproof, where weightlifting, the first thing they teach you is your arms have always got to be loose, which is completely different to powerlifting, isn't it?
Yeah, that was something that it took me a while to get used to, because with powerlifting, it's all about having a tight core, tight chest, tight arms, tight back, everything being solid so that you're not wasting any energy. And then when I came to weightlifting, the coaches were like, nope, you've got to, it's completely different positioning, chest up, it's arms loose. It's like, oh, this is...
You've got to break the posterior chain, where like with a squat and a deadlift in powerlifting, you've got a singular knee bend, singular extension, where with powerlifting, you've got double knee bends, you've got multiple pulls. The technique required is completely different, isn't it?
And even if you look at the bottom of a clean and you look at a deadlift position, to someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, you go, oh, it's quite similar. But then with me having 5 years of being in a deadlift, they're going, oh, actually, no, your hips are wrong. Your shoulders aren't, it's powerlifting, it's don't put your shoulders past the bar. It's no. They've got to go, your hips have got to go up. It's like, oh, this is new.
No, it is completely different. And the other thing is, obviously, for powerlifting, you don't necessarily need mobility. For weightlifting, you definitely do, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I had quite good mobility, because it was something that, even with being a powerlifter, my coach has always...
Sounds like you got a good coach then.
Yeah, he's a very good coach. He's always said, it's not an excuse. Just because you're a powerlifter doesn't mean you can have rubbish mobility.
My powerlifting coach didn't have the same theory.
Yeah, some of them go... They only want you to be able to squat to depth. They don't want you going any lower.
It's shocking.
Because what's the point in having all that strength if you can't use it properly? If you're just going to only be able to do squats, bench, and deadlift to a competition standard, it's not really useful.
It's very one-dimensional.
Yeah, you can be a very, very good powerlifter who can only powerlift. Whereas then you look at the sports like weightlifting and strongman, where you have to be really good across lots of disciplines, that they're probably having that sort of non-specificity is actually probably better.
100%, I would agree, because you're creating better athletes rather than better people in that specific sport. I know when I coach powerlifters, in their off season, I would often get them to learn how to do a snatch, clean and jerk, and that was just basically because it's a different stimulus, but it also teaches them a lot of different skills, and it's a completely different skill set.
And I think changing it up's sort of it can never hurt.
No,
especially with not even just with weightlifting. A lot of times in my training, we'll incorporate even bodybuilding type stuff.
Yeah,
and a lot of it mainly just to sort of keep your mind interested. Because especially if you're a powerlifter, if you only squat and only bench and only deadlift, you just get bored.
100%, because it's it's such a small repertoire of exercises.
Yeah,
squat, bench, deadlift. Similar programming styles as well, whether it be 5-3-1, 5x5, August is 7-5-3, stuff like that. Like, you're following very similar percentage-based programs usually, where you could incorporate something like a snatch grip deadlift, which will help bulletproof your actual deadlift. And God, it's god awful.
Yeah,
hook gripping a snatch deadlift is awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not recommended. And what are your plans going forward? So you've got this crazy degree, you've got a good background in powerlifting and weightlifting. What are the plans for the future, Cal?
Well, I've only just finished my degree, but my plan is I've got a job working in nuclear waste management.
Is that for BAE?
No, it's Springfield's fuel production company. So I'm working in their waste management department. Gonna hopefully see how far I can get with that. Training wise, fully get back into powerlifting, because my focus sort of slipped a bit with uni.
As it does.
Yeah, it was, especially with my degree, I wanted to make sure that I committed properly and sort of could do the best I could. But now I've got more free time. My plan is back powerlifting training, sort of see where I can go with this job, and see what the future holds. Yeah,
it's pretty exciting. And you touched on that. Are you looking at getting back to Team GB, competitive level at powerlifting, or is it just for your own health, fitness, and fun?
If I can get back to Team GB, then it's something I'll definitely be interested in. But obviously, it's not easy.
No, it isn't.
I lifted at Team GB as an under 18, so now
so sub-junior.
Sub-junior, yeah. Whereas now I would have another year as a junior and then go into the open or the senior category.
It's actually rare in powerlifting, isn't it? Usually a lot of people you'll see will have a sub-junior and a junior career, but then don't necessarily always go into open.
Yeah, some people sort of fade out a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Which, to be fair, I think you could probably say I've definitely faded out. When I was competing and leading up to Team GB, it was always training. I think I was doing 4 or 5 comps a year, and then obviously COVID happened, so that had a bit of an effect. But I did my first comp, and I think it was 2 years last October, and then my next one will probably be a similar time this year. So instead of comp every 2 months, it'll be probably more like 3 at most a year.
Well, I mean, how did it feel competing? Was it as scary as you think? Because I have a lot of clients who have never competed in powerlifting. I've had a lot of clients, and they've always got this expectation that it's this grand event, where when you go to powerlifting, my experience is everyone's really chilled, relaxed, everyone's actually just cheering each other on, and it's one of the most inviting, humble environments I've ever been in.
Yeah, it's definitely humble. I would say to anyone who is thinking about powerlifting or is kind of interested, just do one comp, because if you do the first competition, you'll know on that day either you love it, you want to go back again, or you go, maybe it's not for you and you just want to train. But actually on a competition day, it's weird because everyone's there and you might be competing sort of against people, but you're not, you're on your own, and everyone is sort of in their own bubble. You're doing your own thing, you've trained, you've got your own sort of plan for the day. But like you said about the support, is I've never experienced anything like it. I've as a kid played pretty much every sport you can think of, but at powerlifting, the people will support you even when you'd think, why would they?
Yeah.
Like I've been at comps where I have set records, and then the next guys come out to try and beat my record, and me and everyone else and my coach, everyone on my team is all there cheering him on, and you're going, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah, he's there to beat me, but
it pushes you to a higher level.
Yeah.
And another example of that is a young lad who I got into powerlifting came and did work experience with us this weekend, and he told me that he went to the event, he forgot his deadlift socks, and obviously it's a requirement, you have to have them, and Bobby, who we were both speaking about off podcast, she very kindly had a spare pair and just lent him in, and I think that just kind of shows that everyone's there just to help each other. And I always tell people, when you're powerlifting in comp, it's literally you versus you. You go in there for your own total, and obviously it's great if you can break records and stuff like that, and you're there to compete, you can come away with a medal ideally, but ultimately it's you versus you. And a lot of clients actually really enjoy that. They'll go, I don't really care what anyone else does, I'm just going to go and see if I can beat my total. Yeah,
and especially when you've got lots of different age and weight categories, you're not just going to get, you might have clients who come in who are in their 40s, never lifted before, and they might think, oh, it's too late for me. But you'd be amazed how many people sort of take it up later in life.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not just the 15-year-olds who've been in a training camp for 10 years since they were born. It's a lot of people just sort of start out as a hobby and just really quite enjoy it.
Well, I've got a client who was in the M1 category. I've had clients in M2 and M3 before, and just for people listening, that's masters, and just break it down into different age groups. And Martin Rooney was my client. He ended up breaking the open weight category deadlift record for M1. So he did like a 314 kg deadlift, which was amazing.
Yeah.
That got his daughter into training, who was 7 at the time, and now she's a Team GB weightlifter.
Wow.
So it's really good how that works. And he was just an everyday client, and he was too shy to ring me. His wife actually rang me and said he needs to lose a bit of weight. And when we came to the gym, he found all that sort of stuff boring. But I got him into powerlifting, and he loved that side of it. So it's really interesting. Yeah,
it's amazing what people can be into, and especially when you might meet someone who is, you wouldn't expect to be a powerlifter. You might assume that a powerlifter in your head is some giant bloke with a big beard, tattoos, and then you go to a powerlifting competition and it's every and any kind of person you could possibly 100%. Think of.
It's literally, the demographic is so wide in powerlifting, isn't it?
It's all ages, size, weight, backgrounds. It's not a
it's amazing.
It's not a one person does this. It's anyone can.
Yeah. 100%. I remember going to powerlifting comps and I really wanted to try the equipped, but we just couldn't afford it when I was growing up, the equipped category. And then I tried it when I got a bit older because it's very expensive. It's like £200-300 for 2 suits. And I remember trying it when I got a bit older. I was like, oh, I hate this. Have you ever tried equipped?
I've not actually. No, I've tried. Not really equipped, but I've tried sort of slingshot benching, which I know is kind of classed as
just a training aid.
Yeah, kind of classed as equipped in some federations, but I think with equipped, I think it's something that some people will go into because they think, oh, you get to lift more weight, but I think you need a good base before you go into it.
Definitely.
I know some people who have been powerlifting for maybe 6 months at most, and they go, right, I'm going to do equipped, and I'm like, you don't know enough.
Yeah.
You've not only having to do your squat, your bench, deadlift, but you're also having to sort of fight a suit or knee wraps. Get in the suit. I've been to comps where people are, they've got like 2 or 3 people lifting the squat.
They do?
Straps up, because they can't physically get in the actual
Honestly,
suit.
you see people, it's crazy when you see them. And I ask them, like you said, some people might do it for 6 months, a year, 2 years. And I say to them, oh, are you doing ply 1 or multiply? I don't know. He's just like, oh, God. And but it's really interesting. And I would actually say equipped powerlifting is a completely different sport after trying it. But it is really interesting. But even them, I like watching them because it's different technique. Like they don't have as much of a J curve on the bench, and it's just slightly different.
Yeah, and especially with a bench press is, it's a slight bit of a pull in and then a push.
Yeah.
Whereas equipped bench is a pull.
Yeah.
You're not pressing it, you're pulling it to your chest. Yeah.
I love it. And it's really interesting to me. But I've never competed at the highest level like you have. So tell us a little bit, and the listeners and the students, what it's like competing at an international event.
I was quite nervous when I went. I sort of didn't really know what to expect. I'd done a few national competitions before. I came third at nationals, which is how I qualified for the British team.
Third best in our country.
Yeah, and this was when I was I think I was 17. So the guy who won it was 18. So unfortunately, he couldn't compete the next year because he would have been 19. So wouldn't have been a sub junior. So the process basically that if you get a podium at British, you can be in contention. You go to a training day. So I went down to a gym in Cheltenham with the junior team GB coach. And you just do a sort of 1 rep max day, and they want to see where you are. From that, I was invited to go to the team, and it was quite difficult as well because it's all self-funded. So it's not a case of the team GB paying for it or anything. Yeah, it was. So me and my dad, we bought the tickets, got the hotels, flew out to Helsingborg in Sweden, and sort of being there, it was weird because you might watch on the Olympics and you see like the Olympic Village, everyone's walking around in tracksuits. It was like that. It was like that for me.
Oh, really?
Everyone was in a tracksuit. Yeah.
Wow.
And the hotels I was at, you'd be sat at a table and they'd be, oh, he's in a Swedish tracksuit, he's in a Brazilian one, and it was genuinely walking around like an Olympic Village, and it was like, oh right. I was strong for Great Britain. You're going, well, he's really strong for Canada, and he's there for Japan, and it was like, right, it's game time here. You've got to really focus.
And did you enjoy that international stage more than you thought you would?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I thought, if I'll be honest, I had a little bit of doubt because I came third at Britain. I didn't win it, and I looked at the qualifying totals of people going there, and I thought, even on my best day, I'm not going to win this, but for me it was a case of, well, I'm going to represent Team GB. You get points for even coming up to 10th. Yeah. My whole goal was PB as best I can, see if I can break some of my own records, and try and get some points for the junior team if I can. And luckily I was able to do that. And if anything, it was sort of, weirdly enough, with all the pressure, it was the competition that I found sort of the easiest. It was the most well run, so you didn't have to worry about warm up rooms or anything like that. But
that's the funny thing when you go to powerlifting comps. We've not got enough plates or bars.
Not got enough plates. Or you're warming up
platforms.
You might just be warming up in a corner. Back. Yeah, I've seen it all. But whereas this one, it was sponsored by Alico, so it was brand new Alico platforms for everything. But even I ended up having a massive stress right before the competition. So I weighed in. I think there was 13 of us weighed in, and they'd got mine and the guys after me's weight slips mixed up. So I'd weighed in, I'd already eaten. This was about half an hour before I was due to go out for my first squat. I was just about warming up. One of the referees comes and grabs us. You need to go on the scales again. So I'd I'd already eaten, I drank, and
God.
I'm not going to make weight. You know, I've eaten, you know, 2 kilos and drank 2 kilos. I'm not going to do it. Stepped on the scale. So I had to strip all my kit off. Stepped on the scale. Was weighed in over, and he went, "Yeah, you're over." So I'm thinking, right, that's it then. It's not my fault, but I'm going home. And he said, right, we'll just put you in at 66, which is the category I was in, even though I weighed 64. They said, we'll put you in at that. So I was like, right, I'm not happy about that, but I'll do it. But then as I was going out for my first lift, they went, no, do you remember what you weighed? And I remembered it was 64.65 kilos. So because I knew exactly what it was, they went, right, we'll put you down as that. And I went from having to be re-weighed in to warming up, and I think it was like, including stretching, in like 25 minutes to doing my opening squat.
Oh wow, so it's not a great prep though, is it?
No, but my coach was watching back home, and he said when I walked out for my first squat, he said it was the sort of the calmest and sort of the most in control he's ever seen me.
Wow.
And it was, I think just having that stress just focused me, and it was a case of, right, there's nothing you can do. Just, you know, you've been weighed in, it is what it is. Warm up quickly and get out and squat.
Is it like the world's against you, you just want to show them?
Yeah, it felt a bit like, right, everything's gone wrong. Because I didn't want to eat in the morning. I wasn't feeling 100%. There was the issue with the...
You never want to eat in the morning.
No, there was the issue with the weigh-in. But I walked out calm, got that first squat, and then all of a sudden it was, it's no stress this. Got that first squat, you know.
Once you got that first white light,
yeah,
it's not lovely, isn't it?
It's easy. Once you've got that first squat out the way, it's so easy, competition.
Did you get 9 white lights?
I don't think so. I think I got a red light on. I think I got a couple on my bench and a couple on my deadlift, but I got all lifts. So
which is all.
Yeah, I got 2-1 decisions on some of them, but I got all my lifts.
Nice, that's all.
Which I was happy about on that.
We actually recommend to all our students to try different types of training. If they're a bodybuilder, we ask them to go and try CrossFit, powerlifting, high rocks, weightlifting. Is that something you would recommend?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't try anything new, you know, you might not necessarily find that you enjoy it. You know, like you say, you had clients who wanted to lose a bit of weight and they come in and they go, I don't like this. But if you'd never tried them doing powerlifting, they wouldn't have found that they enjoy it.
Exactly.
And you can find better ways for someone to do something. You know, the science might say that running on a treadmill is the best way to lose weight. But if you've got a client, or, you know, if it's me, I don't like running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go and squat for half an hour, I enjoy that. So I'm going to do it.
I'm always a big believer in if it's something you enjoy. I've had clients come to me before and go, right, I play football 3 nights a week, but I want to lose weight, so I'm coming to the gym. I'm just like, well, if you enjoy football, play football.
Go play more football.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be something you enjoy. What are you most excited about 2023? Is it getting back to powerlifting? Is it maybe doing a comp at the end of the year?
I think for me, it's sort of being an adult, because I've been at uni. I mean, I'm 22, so I am an adult, but it's sort of feeling like an adult, having a proper job, and looking forward to sort of all that comes with that.
The challenge of having a job and training.
Yeah.
And are you looking at doing anything else in education, or is that it now?
Maybe not anytime soon. I would consider doing a master's in the future. Maybe even a PhD if I can, you know, if the opportunity is ever there. But certainly not at the moment.
No.
I was originally on a master's course, a 4-year master's straight away, but I decided to graduate with a bachelor's a year early.
Nice.
Just I thought I think I've sort
expended that energy of learning.
Sort of ran out of love with education, but it's definitely something that I know with a year off that I will really, really probably, hopefully, come back to, because you know, if I can get a master's, or, you know, maybe even a PhD in future, it's definitely something I'll be interested in.
That sounds amazing. And for people obviously listening, a lot of our students are students, so they're in education. What is one tip you would give someone currently in education?
Probably my biggest tip would be to engage. Like, don't just show up. If you're at uni, no one sort of really checks on you. You can go to your lectures, you can not go to your lectures, but if you do turn up and you do actually engage, you'll get so much more out of it.
Yeah, I'm probably guilty of that. Like, even just going, if you were at university, for instance, make sure you're reading the reading list or the journal list that is recommended. Engage with other students, engage with tutors and lecturers. You know, I think these things are important, so I think that's a massive one. Engage with your course. Even some students who are on the personal training courses, the sports massage courses, the mental health awareness courses we run, all these courses, sometimes students don't engage as much as they could, and they can get more out of it. And we always find the students who do engage more get more out of it.
Yeah.
And if a student's struggling and they engage with us, it's so much easier to help them.
Yeah, because I've had issues at uni with not understanding things, and even sometimes I had technical issues where I just couldn't access to the lecture notes. But by going to my lecturers and saying I'm not getting this, they can then help me. They've given me extra reading to do, and even just sometimes they've said, right, come to my office and just one-on-one we'll go through it.
Yeah, they might explain it in a slightly different way than they did in the lecture.
Yeah.
And that can help.
Yeah, because not everyone understands everything exactly the same way. Sometimes it needs to be said slightly different, or even just sort of said again.
It's like coaching cues. I give a coaching cue to a client for a long time, and then one of the other coaches comes in and gives it in a slightly different way, and it works.
Yeah.
And that's why I always believe as well, like, it's not the end of the world if you swap coaches or ask a coach for a different opinion. I'm a big believer in getting another coach to come and observe sessions to kind of give me feedback on my coaching and where the clients are up to. I think it's a really powerful drill.
Yeah, definitely.
What is one tip you would give fellow professionals? So how long have you had your new job for?
Well, I took a year out of uni to do an internship, and then I worked there part-time last year. So I've been at this company for, I think it's 2 years in August. I guess sort of what I would say to someone would be, don't sell yourself short. If you think you might not necessarily be 100% qualified for it, or if like I was feeling that, I'm not a proper adult, I don't think I can have a proper adult's job, try it. The worst that can happen is they'll say no, that the opportunity might not be there, but it might be one of them where you get an opportunity, or you get a job or an experience that if you didn't ask, if you didn't try, you wouldn't get.
It's like trying a new sport or new training style. You don't know until you try it.
Yeah.
You may think you're terrible at that sport, but you go and try it and actually you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Or you just enjoy it. We've just done a podcast with Harry about him becoming an ops manager, operations manager. No one ever kind of goes, I'm going to be an operations manager until you try it, do they?
Well, I never went, I want to work in nuclear waste. I decided I wanted to do a placement year because it was something my dad said. He said, worst case scenario, you get paid for a year and you don't like the job and you don't like it. Best case, you find the job you want to do, which is, for me, has been all right. I applied for it. They offered me the job, so I took it. It was just sort of something I saw on a website, I applied for, and here I am.
Absolutely love that. Yeah, so guys, if you are listening, if in education, make sure you engage, and for professionals, don't sell yourself short. Believe in yourself and really give that job a go. Cal, you've been an excellent guest. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Again, where can people find you on socials?
My Instagram is callum.mcgovern_PL. So that's for all my powerlifting stuff. So if you want more of me, find me there.
We'll drop it in the description anyway. And guys, if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure you leave a comment, and we'll be supporting Cal on his journey, hopefully back to Team GB. Thank you very much, pal.
Thanks for having me.